From the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson, here with Barry Trammell. Time for Inbox. We take your questions from email and answer them here on video. Barry, let's get right to it. And this one from Bobby starts us off. Bobby says, did you see the appalling officiating that gave KU the win at Iowa State and probably gave the Jayhawks another league championship? Is this some kind of conspiracy?
Well, no, it's not a conspiracy. I choose not to believe in conspiracies, and I don't think anybody else does either in sports, or you wouldn't be a sports fan. However, it was a horrible no call, and college basketball officiating is getting worse. And it's not because the officials are bad. I think they're overworked. They work every night. There are guys in Peoria one night, and Austin the next, and Albuquerque the next night. And just it's a terrible schedule. There's no centralized officiating. I think they need to fix some of that. But bottom line, it was a horrible call.
Well, and you know what? My least favorite call of all in basketball came into play in this one. It was two guys on the floor going after a loose ball, and a foul was called. I really hate when they make that call. And that was the foul that they ultimately called. That they didn't call what would have been a charge, but they did call guys on the floor going for a loose ball and a foul. I really hate that. And yeah, I don't buy conspiracy either, but I really hate that foul. All right, back to the inbox. This one from Kemp. Kemp says, I'm very displeased with the fact that Kevin Durant and the starters for the Thunder sit out a lot of the fourth quarters lately. Not so much for the other starters, but for KD, who will lose the scoring title because he sits out the fourth quarters while Carmelo Anthony plays in all fourth quarters for the Knicks.
Well, you wrote me that just a couple of days ago. And now, since then, Kevin Durant sat down with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. So he's playing less. Here's the deal, Kemp. You can't worry about the scoring title. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook play a crazy amount of minutes. Last time I looked, Kevin Durant was second in the league, only behind Kobe Bryant, and just barely behind Kobe in minutes played. You got to get those guys out. You got to rest them. When the Thunder's up 30 in the third quarter, sit down, take a breather. Scoring titles are great. NBA championships are better.
Yeah, and I think you got to get that rest too. And you know what? Even though he has rested and he has seen a lot of bench time in fourth quarters, there's no doubt this team has had some blowout wins, which have been really impressive. And he's still in the hunt for the scoring title. So let's not lose sight of that, Kemp. Keep your head up, because he might be able to sit and win the scoring title. But he has to sit. That has to be priority. When they get the chance to get those guys on the bench, not have Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook out there, they have to do it. They have to get them that rest when they can. All right, back to the inbox. This one from William. William says, what does the NBA do with luxury tax revenues? Sounds like $100 million or $200 million or more could be generated. There is a lot of money out there in the luxury tax.
It's a great question, and here's a problem. It's a loophole in the rules. The rule says that up to 50% of the luxury tax revenues can be redistributed back to the teams, but doesn't have to be. Now, the NBA, I think, says they're going to do that, but 50% of it goes to the league just to spend on league operations. So the idea that all the high spending teams are going to give money to the low spending teams, that's not necessarily going to happen. So I think this is something to look at. That money could be distributed just into the general revenue sharing fund as well. So it's a little bit gray area. It wasn't spelled out in the collective bargaining agreement. I think it should have been. Way too much nebulous material here for me.
And considering how thick the collective bargaining agreement is, the fact that they didn't hammer that out, that's pretty unbelievable. I tell you what, though, it's going to be interesting to see just how much luxury tax is generated after what we saw at the trading deadline last week. We didn't see a lot of big deals. You know, there's been a lot of years where teams maybe haven't made over their lineups, but they've definitely altered lineups. Teams that have been in contention have done that, and we did not see that. You know, really the biggest trade we saw on the trading deadline day was probably involving J.J. Redick and the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's not really a blockbuster type of deal. So you didn't see the contenders make big deals, which makes you think that everybody's really going to be cautious about how this luxury tax is done. So are we going to see teams paying luxury tax? I believe so, Barry, but are we going to see them spending at the rate that maybe could generate millions, hundreds and hundreds of millions? I don't know. We're going to have to see. I think teams may be cautious about that. All right, back to the inbox one last time. This one comes from Brandon. Brandon says, I'm curious what you think about the latest news of the NCAA's legal malpractice and its investigation of Miami and the impact that it might have on the future of the NCAA. Barry, this is a story that's kind of gone under the radar here, but it's a big one.
It's a mess. It's a total mess. The NCAA has really screwed up the investigation of Miami, which the Hurricanes clearly, have all kinds of scandals going on. I don't know that it'll affect the future of the NCAA. I do think this has really harmed President Mark Emmert, who's come in as a trailblazer, wants to make all kinds of changes, deregulate the NCAA. But instead, I think he's going to have a lot of problems with a lot of, the Penn State thing's a mess with people suing the state of Pennsylvania, suing the NCAA. He came in and dropped the hammer on Southern Cal for crimes that appear to be way less than what's going on in Miami. And I would be surprised if Mark Emmert survives this Miami mess.
I'm not sure there will be, I'm with you, I'm not sure there will be a lot that changes the future of the NCAA, maybe except leadership, altering who's in the leadership roles. But it should alter the NCAA. We should see some change. I mean, this was obviously systematic. There were some big issues here in the investigation of Miami, which makes you wonder, how do these investigations of other schools, have there been problems there that we don't know about? I think there should be some wholesale changes in the NCAA and the way that they do their business. Will there be? It doesn't seem like it's trending that way, but it doesn't mean there shouldn't be, and maybe it should be eye-opening for the member schools to say to the NCAA, hey, it's time for you to make some changes. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.